Yeah. That's it.
We're sitting in one chair, just to let you know, because she thought we would look too small in two
Yeah, it
separate
doesn't look
chairs.
like this tiny, tiny.
All right. So we
Yeah.
started off this thing with a bang. First off, thank you to everybody who's tuning in. Welcome to our first live series of work-life balance. We are extremely excited because we are featuring Mike and Maui, or as we call them,
I call him Eminem.
Eminem. And like I was just telling Maui and Mike backstage, it's important that we feature couples and we, allow them to tell their stories because we see the Jay-Z, Beyonce's, we see the other celebrity couples out there. And it's important that we have people that look like us that are doing it in their communities so that we can aspire to create that within our relationships, within our marriage, or with our significant other. So without further ado, welcome Mike and Maui. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited.
we don't
We're super excited.
we don't have any scripted questions, guys. So all of this is going to be a natural conversation. And we kept it that way to allow everybody to have a chance to speak and to really, say what's on their hearts. So, how did both of you meet? Let's start with that. How did you meet?
Ah. I mean, what was it? Christian Mingle.
There you go. All right.
I was living in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, a little town called Enterprise, and she was living here in the Atlanta area. So that's how we. It was actually my first day on Christian Mingle and her last day on Christian Mingle.
Exactly. So I refused to pay more than $9.99 for that thing. So I said it has to work within 30 days. If it doesn't, then $9.99. That's it. I'm not investing any more money. So on the last day, his first day, we met and we connected, and he came to Atlanta, and we had 3 days in one day.
3 days, one day.
So we had lunch, dinner, and we had movies that same day, and we headed off. After that, it was 2013. So we've been together for almost 9 years now.
All right.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So
So,
something good comes out of those websites. Okay, don't lose hope.
and that was my next question. What made you guys both decide to go the online dating route? Because as we've seen with the pandemic, more people have switched to online
And
dating.
gravitated towards it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what made you guys gravitate towards online dating, and how did you set your profiles up to make sure you attracted the right person?
Oh my goodness! So I am brutally honest by nature. So I was as brutally honest as I could be. And then uh, I don't know. I guess just trying dating and going to bars and doing all those things, it didn't work out. Uh, And I think nowadays, really dating online is the best way because you get to put everything that you're looking for, but you also get to put everything that you are as well. So kind of everybody has that kind of give and take, and they know what you're getting in the beginning. So you can say, "Hey, I like you. Let's talk," or "Let me skip to the next person." Instead of actually meeting these people at a bar or wherever you're doing, spending all that time, and then finding out that you guys weren't a match to begin with. So
And the other thing he doesn't mention is that he was working probably what 16 hours, 14 hours a day.
typically 18 hours a
So
day. Yeah.
he didn't have time for going out or doing anything like that. Besides, he was in the middle of nowhere. So who? I mean,
Yeah.
really, realistically, I mean. So and me, I was super busy. Well, you know me, Jay, since forever, and I'm always busy. So I had two kids at that time. Andrea and David were still little, and I had to, I was going to school. I had jobs. I was doing many things. So you really don't have the time to dig in and connect and or go somewhere or do it the traditional route. So I think that online worked because of that. We're busy, and we just, and also we had prior relationships. We were both divorced, so it was kind of like, let's go straight to whatever it is that we want, cut to the chase, and that's it, right? It wasn't like,
Yeah, I think that was the best part.
yeah,
I just laid it all out on the table. I was like, this is me.
it was like a business meeting.
Yeah. do you want to do this? This is where I'm at. This is what I'm going to invest.
Yeah.
Are you a willing participant?
Are you okay?
Are you an investor?
So yes, it was like that. I mean, we sat down to have lunch. It was like, this is what I want. Is that okay with you? Yes, it is. Okay, let's do this. That's it. So it was. I think it worked out that way.
Yeah.
So how much time from when y'all met and y'all had your first date to when y'all got engaged or married? Like how much time was that?
So June we met. No, July we met. October we got engaged. We got married the following February. So
like that. That's awesome. When you know. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you know what you want, you also because it's not the person that you meet. Okay. Mm-hmm. That Maui he met, or that Mike I met, that's not the person we wanted. We met each other while building something together. So when you know what you want to build, then that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because then you put both efforts together, and then you become, right, while building. So I always, I go back and we look at, we were a mess, right? At the beginning, and it took us a long time to get to where we are right now, but it is because you take the time to say, okay, this is it, this is what we're building. And when you're doing that in the process, you start developing these characteristics that you were looking at the beginning, and now they come, they come out, and it's, you bring out the best in each other when you start building something good.
Yeah.
So that's basically what happened with us. It's not, that wasn't the person, that person that we met, that met each other that day, that wasn't the person. I think that what we are, or where we are right now, is actually what we're looking for, and we finally, we're here now.
It wasn't easy. So I like to say that it wasn't easy at all. So there's lots of highs and lots of lows, and lots of in betweens. So I think what defined us the best was what we were willing to do for each other, and at our worst moments. And the other one was there to pick the other one up and get them to the finish line. So that was the most important thing, is we never gave up on each other, even when we wanted to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times that we wanted to.
That we wanted to, and we had all the reasons to do so.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, you have to realize that, and it also takes a lot of ownership, right?
Yeah.
Owning what is that you are doing, sometimes on purpose to hurt the other person. It takes a lot in order for you to actually get to where you want. So
we can definitely relate to that. Like listening to you guys sounds like our story, because we met at a time when we had just got a relationship, and we knew what we want, what we didn't want, but we knew what we wanted to aspire to create within us. And we, like you two, we struggled. We had those moments in our marriage where we look at each other and be like, in the bed, like, deuces, like, good, like, we good, we built this, we can go our separate ways, you can be straight, I can be straight financially, like, no ties, we good, but we both wanted it.
Yeah.
And don't you agree?
Yes, and just seeing the bigger picture at the end, what was accomplished. And when you do go through those times, you kind of look back, you like, but look how far we have gotten, and look how far we can go if we continue and we just iron those things out. And once you start to iron those little crinkles out, and you start to get and you start to see the vision come back to life, because it's some things that like need to get a little muddy. Then once you start seeing everything kind of iron out and the muddiness kind of go away, that's when you start to see, all right, we can do this. And also taking ownership of yourself and in part in the partnership. Take ownership of your flaws and your things that you need to work on yourself. And then when you work on those things and you see like everything started intertwining and working together like an engine, and that's when you like, man, we can do this. We can conquer anything. And especially again, looking back at the challenges that you face and all the things you face, and then those are the times you get to smile when you do accomplish something. You're like, man, I remember this. Those are the memories that you build together on some, and it comes from your lowest point sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I don't think any relationship will ever be perfect. And if somebody's looking for something that's easy and they're going to be happy all the time, they're fooling themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's why couples split up so easily nowadays, is because everybody's looking for that perfect thing, and it doesn't exist. You have to create it yourself. And I think that a perfect relationship has its highs and lows, but that's what makes it memorable, right? And if you look at, like, my parents have been married almost 60 years, and I can tell you without a doubt that it was never perfect, but it was perfect for them. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think when we talk about these things and we can relate to each other as well as we do, it's because we're very like-minded. And I think everybody that's probably watching this has the same ideas of what they want to be in life. Right. And so a lot of it's going to resonate with everybody, even if they're at a different stage, right, in their life than where we are. I think it just takes that like-mindedness and that goal searching and soul searching. I think all that plays into it. I can't see myself with anybody else besides Maui, right? Mm-hmm. And so I know we're gonna celebrate our 50th and 60th anniversary.
I don't know if we can do that because they said it longer.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
But still, and even if we look at each other and we're upset with each other, we know at the end of the day we have each other's backs, right? Yeah. And there's nobody else that we want to be in this world with, right? Mm-hmm. And we have children, and they see that too, and we have to make sure that we set an example for them, because at the end of the day, they're going to go out in this world and just regurgitate what they learned, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we have a stable family and a stable relationship, then that's what they're going to look for. And that's what I want. We're a minority family. Maui is the first generation immigrant. So she immigrated when she was 14. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I was born a citizen. But there's a lot of Latinos out there that's not their story, but I want it to be their story, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have to set the example not only for our children, but I think for our people as well. And it's a big responsibility, I think, more so that us as minorities, this isn't the common story, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have to create that story and examples for other people to follow. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm really excited, on what we accomplished, because I think it's a twofold or even a threefold. We're doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for our family, but we're also doing it for other people to see that it can be done.
Yeah.
Right.
And also one of the things, one of the things is that it's a story that you have in your head as well. So change your story, change your life, I think, right? And I came from a very strong family of women, right? And maybe Jay can relate to that as well. And it's the mentality of I don't need a man. I
remember that
phase. I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you, right? That was my favorite phrase. I came up with it. I want you, but I don't need you, right? And that would kill him, right? Because in his mind, it was like, what do you mean? I mean, I want you to need me too, right? But it was the story that I had in my head that in order to become successful, right? In order to become a strong woman and successful businesswoman, I had to do it on my own. I didn't need a man to do that, right? And that's something that I had in my head, and that's something that was so damaging, not only for me, for my kids, for my relationship with him. And I had to really change that. And when I did that, and that's what T was saying about changing yourself and going deep and seeing what is it that you're doing, right? That's when I realized that, um, listen, he's here to help me, and I'm here to help him, and we're building something together. And I was able to trust. I was able to open up and trust and say, okay, then we're gonna do this together. You're my partner, you're my equal. You're not here to hurt me or to, I don't have to feel threatened by you. And it took time because that's something that is in our heads. When I say our heads, I'm talking about women of color. We think that, in order to be powerful, we have to do it on our own. Oh, I can be super mom, and I can be a single mom, and I can be a businesswoman, and I can be. And yes, it's true. And more power to you. That's great. But at the end of the day, I know that I cannot be a dad for my kids. I can be the best mom possible, but I cannot be a dad. I cannot take that away from him. So those are things that sometimes we don't realize. And I was very proud of being a single mom, and being on my own for a while, but also feeling the blessing of having a good man that is also heading towards the same direction. Then it gives you that second perspective, and it gives you that energy that sometimes you don't have. And then you can trust, and you can really let go of that ego, right?
And be vulnerable. And to your point, I think that because we saw our moms do it, our grandmas do it, hold down the house without having the male there for whatever reason it was, we naturally just conformed to that and thought that that was the best way to handle things. Not necessarily saying that we didn't know how, but because we grew up, without having a male figure there, we adapted naturally to that type of living, that type of, mindset, and understood that we had to, be independent and figure things out for ourselves because we saw our moms, or we saw, our grandmothers, or other strong women hold down the family. So I think that's where that comes from as well. But I definitely want to talk about your blended family, because you both said you have a blended family, and then you had 2 children as well. So for all my our couples out there who have blended families, like, how did you guys work through that? Bringing 2 families together and then having children as well.
So Mike has 2 boys, the oldest boys, and then I had Andrea and David. So we have a 24 that is already married, and then we have a 21, and then Andrea's 20, David is 17, and then we were brave enough to have another 2 kids. So we have a total of 6, 2, 2, and 2. And how was it? It was tough, really hard. Mike came into our lives when Andrea was just becoming a teenager. David was 9, I believe. And they hated him for pretty much like 4 or 5 years, I think. It was rough, right? It was really rough because I had that I had to own the fact that I was very, very protective of them because I was, with them on my own for a long time. And I thought that my way was the best way. And I didn't open up to another way of doing things. And that resistance created a lot of problems. So he wanted to be not just the stepdad that will come and just, not even care about them. He wanted to be hands on. He wanted to be part of their lives. He wanted to be there to teach them, to guide them, to protect them. And I didn't want that. I saw that as criticism. I saw it as him telling me that his way was better than mine. I saw it as him, changing the way that I was doing things. So there was a lot of resistance there. in my part. And the funny thing is that now that David and Andrea are older, they go more to him than they go to me when it comes to several things. And they have actually absorbed a lot of the things that he taught them. So Andrea, doing laundry, she's like, okay, Mike used to do it this way. This is the way that we're gonna do it. He was in the military, so he was very structural, right? I wasn't. I'm a hippie. I've been a hippie my whole life, right? So I was a free bird. Let's go ahead and paint the walls and whatever. And he was very by the book. So they needed that structure, and I didn't know that my kids needed that structure, and they appreciated it. They learned from it, and they love it. They absolutely love that part. And now I think that they have seen the consequences of that, right? The benefits, I will say, of those teachings.
Yeah.
So
let's see. I think the kids got along. The kids got along right off the bat. So when they were younger, they got along very well.
yes.
I think is probably because of the maturity. Because they weren't 3 or 4 years old, they were a little bit older. I think they understood what the program was. And so, I only had my boys part time, but they enjoyed their time together when I did have them, and we made sure that they were a family instead of this is Joshua coming in for a weekend or for the summer. It was here's your brother, and they did things like that, like brother and sisters did. Um, there was a lot of learning, and there was a lot of I would say there was a lot of growing pains, right? And it's not easy to let somebody else raise your children, right? Because you don't know if they have their best interests in mind, and especially when you're trying to teach them, maybe the lesson learned isn't the way you would teach it, right? And so you would think that they have something against your kids. And so there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, having to let go and trust. And so eventually, I would say we kind of, the best way to describe it is the school of hard knocks. So we were I would say going for a master's in the school of hard knocks. Until we got to the point where we saw these kids going out on their own, like Andrea, typical teenager when she was growing up, right? And her way was always the best way. But when she went out on her own, when she started college, she would always revert back to what I taught her about, having a clean home, taking pride in your appearance, always being responsible, and always being punctual. And always, no matter what the consequences, you have a good consequence or a bad consequence to everything that happens, but you have to own it either way. And I think us making them productive members of society and good people was the most important thing for me. My biggest fear for Andrea was for her not to be independent and depend on somebody. Not because I didn't want her to not love somebody and lean on them, but she had to be comfortable in her own skin, right? I didn't want to raise a daughter that needed somebody's love to feel like she was complete, that she could be out there, and if she never got married, she was happy with who she was as a person. And that was my main goal. With David, as much as Maui wanted to be the dad and show him how to be a man, she would never ever know how it is to be a man unless you're a man. Just like I couldn't teach Andrea how to be a woman because I don't know what it's like. I've never experienced that. So I know with David, he's going to be the head of a household one day, right? Yeah. And he's going to have responsibilities. So one thing that I noticed about some of our kids, my oldest one especially, is in this younger generation is they always want to come up with an excuse of why they can't either do it or why they didn't do it at all. And so I had to teach them, no matter what obstacle you have in your way, you have to figure it out. Because when you have a wife and kids, you have to figure out what life is. And life isn't fair. life has all these twists and turns, right? But you have to figure it out because these kids have got to eat, they got to sleep with a roof over their head, and they got to feel safe, right? And so I thought about, how we can address that. And sometimes it was met with good results. A lot of times it wasn't. But we pushed forward, I think, and I think that, with these, they all turned out great. The oldest ones, all the older ones turned out wonderful.
The 4 older ones, they turn out wonderful. We're still working on the other 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Fingers crossed. But
so far so good.
But what we got out of it too is, I don't know, we got a lot closer after we figured out that we weren't trying to do anything but the best for them.
Exactly. When you figured out the true intention on the other person.
Right.
And that's what I would say to a mom that is going through a blended situation. Go back to the true intention.
Right.
What is it that he really wants? If he really cares for you and loves you, then he's gonna want the best for those children as well. And let him show you that in his way, and then maybe come up with a way that will be different. Because I was able to teach him certain things, he was able to teach me other things, but we had to really dig into the intention. What is it that he's intending to do? And that helped a lot. So now seeing them grown, like this weekend, we're gonna have them home, all of them together, and it's such a joy to see how, number one, they love each other so much, because like Mike said, that was from the beginning. They said, I may not call you mom, I may not call you dad, but this is my sister and that's my brother, right? And that relationship they have, it's amazing. They see each other and it's like they were raised in a family or in that same household since they were little. So that's really great to see. And they have kind hearts. They have, goals in life. They're good people.
Yeah.
So that's what matters at the end of the day.
I think holding them to a standard is very important. I think what you want from them in life is what you have to hold them to account when they're younger, so they understand and they're already programmed. So even if you have to let them grow as well. So you can't be pressing on them, because we all were at that point where we started out, we had nothing, right? And so you can't expect your kids to start out with everything that you have, but you have to hold them to that standard, right? And
create that expectation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they created themselves, because they don't know what to do unless you. This is the type of person you're going to be when you're older, and that's why you live the way that you do now, is because we expect you to be this same person, or if not better than what we are, right? And so I think that we're good people, and so we want good people out of them. And a lot of things could have happened with these kids, right? And I'm so grateful that they never did anything that would disappoint us. Number one, and two, would put them in harm's way. And that was, and it happens all the time. I mean, everybody hears these stories that something bad happened to someone that they know's children, and that never happened with us. And I'm very grateful, very grateful.
And you guys have set that balance between you guys with your kids. How did that translate into business? Because you guys work together, it mesh together when y'all join families. Now, how do y'all translate to business now? Because again, you guys were able to balance that out. Now, how are you able to go into business and make things happen too as well in business?
Well, let me rewind. Hold on, because I've known Maui forever. And Maui started in mortgage lending. She was doing lending. Now she's my girl, killing it. $1 million staff. Killing it. I'm just putting it out there. But that wasn't always the case. Mike was the one, out there really working the long hours, and you stayed at home. So how did you guys navigate through not necessarily switching roles, but becoming more of a complement to each other? And now you guys are at a point, I'm gonna let you guys tell the rest of the story, where you work together. So, talk a little bit about that dynamic.
So
You go first.
So when I met Mike, I was going to school. I was working as a paralegal, and he was the breadwinner. He was in a high position in the car business. He had built a huge career, a very respectable career, not only in Alabama but also here in Georgia. He was at the top of his game at that point, and because he took over and he was the main provider, he was an absolutely amazing provider during that time. That allowed me the luxury, I will say, of exploring other careers and options. And I started doing, going into the real estate world, mortgage world. I was an assistant first, and then I was a processor, but he will always push me, hey, I know you can do it. I know that, you can get your license, you can be an LO. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of asking for more money. Go ahead and do it, and he was always, yeah.
What's a LO for people who don't know?
Oh, a loan officer. Okay. So, once I had that support, I knew he was there. He was taking care of everything. He was taking care of bills. He was taking care of us. I said, okay, let me try. And I remember that I would take that test, fail the test, call Jay, cry about it. I fell again. And Jay would say, it's okay. You're going to take it again. It's okay. So, and he will be there always telling me, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. So he believed in me so much. And then I finally became licensed and I started originating. And then in 2019, when I was going up in my career, he was still in the car business. We were going crazy because both of us were working crazy hours. I had, we had Sebastian was 3, Lucas was not even, Sebastian was like 2.5, and Lucas was a newborn. And that time, on August 16, 2019, I had a stroke. And it was a very scary situation. When people says that you need something in order to have a breakthrough, that was it. Mike got the phone call from a friend, and she said, Maui's in an ambulance. She's on her way to the hospital. She doesn't feel the left side of her body. And I got to the hospital. I couldn't move the left side of my body. I couldn't move it at all. I was confused. I knew what was going on, but I had a tingling sensation. I couldn't talk well. I knew what I was thinking, but words weren't coming out the right way. He got to the hospital, and we were told that we had 15 minutes to decide if I wanted this medication that would either kill me or let them know if another stroke was coming. And we had to decide in 15 minutes. And I remember the look at Mike's face. He was shaking. He took my hand. He looked at me, and I told him, "I'm sorry, but I'm scared. I'm freaking out." And he said, "We're gonna do this. You're gonna get that medication. We're gonna do it." And we got the medication. After that, they put me on IC unit for, I would say, 2 weeks. I was there, and I came out of there with a walker. I couldn't walk. After that, it became a cane, and that was the point in which he said, "You know what? I'm done. he left his career, he came and he took care of me. So we took all of our savings at that point. I was still originating. I had a team at that point. It was a small team. And he said, I'm done. I'm done with the car business. I'm here to support you. He will cook for me, take care of the kids, take care of, if I had meetings, he will go with me because he knew that I was either going to forget or something was going to happen. I had a seminar, an event, and I remember he took me there. I was with a cane, and I forgot most of the things that I had to say. And I remember that coming back, I pee myself and I throw up. And he was there for me. So when you see that type of love, right, that's when you say, well, I think that we have to change the way that we see things. So he was able to step down from where he was. As a man, he had reached a lot of things on his career. He was really killing it, and he was able to leave that behind and say, I'm here for you. So he took his license, he took his test. He passed the test in the first try. And he became one of my LOs. And I was able to keep building my career because he was by my side. So all the overflow that I had of work, he took over. So all my big realtors, all the people that was more demanding, that needed more of my attention, Mike would take over. And he was there, trying to take notes if we were in a meeting or things like that, just to make sure that I knew what was going on. So after a while, his business started taking off, but we decided that because of that balance that we wanted, he was going to, yes, still originate, but we were going to combine everything. And that his workflow is not as high as mine. So right now he's basically a stay-at-home dad. He works from home. He picks up the kids from school. He takes care of the dog. I mean, he has it hard. I think that my job is super easy. I just go to work and come back. That's all I have to do. He does the grocery shopping. He does the food. He feeds the kids. Soccer practices. He takes them. So I have it easy. My job is just to go to work. And I think he has done an excellent job with not only being at home, but also still work from home. The load he has, from our pipeline, our combined business, and still being, a great husband and a great dad for the kids. So that's the story. That's how it came out to be. And it's amazing how he always tells me, go do your thing, you're awesome at that. Or, I mean, the encouragement, it's great. And it's like he doesn't see any limits for me. It's like it's amazing because even when I'm down, he's like, what are you talking about? You can do so much more. It's like you're gonna have a bank. It's like, he puts these ideas in my head. It's like his version of me, the dream he has for me is so much bigger than the one that I have for myself, and that is just absolutely amazing. That's the way I see it.
And Mike, how is that for you, Mike? Traditionally, the men, like Maui was saying, are supposed to be the breadwinner and supposed to be the ones providing from a financial standpoint and just, more so being out there on the front line. So how was that for you, stepping back or changing the dynamic? I don't want to say stepping back, but just really shifting and changing the dynamic to taking on a different role.
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack with what you just said.
All right,
So
give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I can do it in 5. So the one thing that you have to see is, I think in today's world, that typical male breadwinner, it really doesn't. I don't think it matters anymore. I think that what works best for us is, I know her worth, right? And I was killing myself, trying to make sure that she had the ability to find out who she was, right? I was working 18, 20-hour days. And at a certain point, when you see your kids asleep, when you go to work and you see them asleep when you get home and they don't recognize you, that's tough. That's tough to inhale, right? But the worst part was when she had her stroke. I think was the straw that broke the camel's back, because I don't want to ever have a phone call telling me that my wife is dying and I have to drive an hour just to be by her side. That was tough. So at that point, I already knew that she was worth so much more than what she valued herself at. And so we took a chance, and I think at the end of the day, me knowing what she was worth and me knowing what she was capable of, and given the confidence to do all the things that she did, really played out to our advantage. I can't stress enough about supporting your spouse, no matter what. And I can't stress enough about living the life that you want to live, right? Because you only have one round at all of this. And so I don't want to go out with a bunch of regret. And I know she could do it. And she has, and it wasn't hard. She thinks it was hard for me to walk away from it. It wasn't hard for me to walk away from all that. It really wasn't. It was a really easy choice between her and my career. It was super easy, And I thank God for every day that we have with each other. And I think that where we are now, we're so fortunate, because we could have been born in another country, right? And so this country has always provided so many things. And what I mean by that is, I lived in a car for 6 months of my life. Like, I had to start over my life several times, and always made it to, maybe not the top where everybody else thinks, but I made it to, making high 6 figures several times. And right now we're even above that. And it's all because of I really want to say it's all because of her. Once she figured out that she was worth so much, then she exploded, right? And I still don't think she's reached her full potential. She is very great at what she does, but she has to believe it. And I think a lot of the other spouses out there, if you're trying to tear your significant other down by saying that you do this and you do that, you're doing it wrong. I think that you need to bring them up and make sure that they exceed the level that you're at. That's the goal, right? You want to do it for your kids. You want to make sure that they exceed the level you're at. Well, I want my wife to exceed, and I don't have a problem with her saying that she's a breadwinner. I don't have a problem. Like, she makes the highest that I've ever made. She's makes about 6 times of that amount. Now, we bought our dream home. We moved in a month ago. It's $1 million house. I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be at this status, And I just think that it's not taking a step back. I think it's taking a leap forward.
Yeah.
Because you have to work at what works best for your dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, she does. Let's face it, she don't cook. She don't cook well. Let's just face it.
I don't cook.
Right.
T don't cook.
Right. Listen, but what she does do well, you cannot replace it. Right. She connects with people, right? And that is her strong suit. And when she connects with people, especially with what she does, because let's be honest, there's not a lot of people out there that are advocates for minorities buying homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
This lady right here is the biggest advocate for minorities buying home, no matter what shade of brown, black, blue, purple, pink, or whatever color in between is out there in the rainbow. If you want to buy a home, she's gonna find a way for you to get in there and start building wealth for yourself and your family. I don't have that ability, but the abilities that I have is to love my kids, to take care of the house, to make sure that when she comes home, she has a meal, that she's taken care of, that the kids are taken care of, to make sure that all the little details that are out there in this world that will always throw a kink in her success, I'm able to take care of it. So I call myself Maui support. So that's what I am, is Maui support. And so it works well for our dynamic, right? And what it does is it increases her potential, and it also increases our family's potential of living the best life we can. So labels really don't mean anything to me. You can call me the janitor if you want me to, but it doesn't matter to me. All I know is we're living a dream, right? And the only way to keep it moving, right, is to one support the other, right? So she's supporting me. I'm providing all these other things, and I'm there supporting her by getting all the monkeys off her back so she can keep it moving, right? And she's a better me than I can ever be, right? If that makes any sense. So I reached the pinnacle of my career, and she's just starting off in this, and look at what she's doing. If you want to just talk about monetary numbers, she's putting my numbers to shame. And I had 22 years in the business, right? And so I have to see that, but I also have to see the smile on her face on making dreams happen for other people. And I think that's what motivates her the most is to make dreams happen for everybody else. And it's special. It's truly special to see her at work and see these people with, mostly immigrants is what we do. People that aren't even U.S. citizens, buying a house when they were living in nothing, right? And where they came from, they had nothing and dirt floors, and they were sleeping on. I remember one was the mattress was cardboard. So they're sleeping on a dirt floor, and here they are buying a home, and you just can't put that into words. See these kids, telling Maui, what kind of house they want and what kind of room they're going to get. And you see these dreams, right? And it's hard to describe when you're bringing hope to these people, because then and only then are you going to get people out of this bad situation, right? And so I think with what we're doing in a generation, we can get these people into wealth, right? Not even in a generation, because these people are buying homes, and then 6 months later, a year later, they're buying investment homes on top of that. And they come right back to us and say, hey, you did this for me. Let's get an investment house.
And one of the things that I also want to say is that we have come up with certain things that we don't negotiate, and that has to do with balance as well. So usually we have me time. Like I wake up every morning. I have a morning routine. I wake up at 4 a.m. I go to the gym every day, and in the morning. So by 6:30, my me time is done, and then I take care of taking Sebastian to school and getting ready for the morning. And then after that, he takes care of Lucas, and he does whatever he does. But then at night, I come home, a meal is already prepared. We eat dinner. I'm taking care of homework while he does other things, and then after that, I put the kids to bed, and we go to bed early. I go to bed early with the kids, and he has his me time, and he can watch TV and relax and do whatever he does until 10 or 11 or whatever. And that has helped so much in our relationship. Just that little thing of me having my time in the morning, him having his time in the morning. Usually before I go to sleep, I call him into our room and we meditate together. And that's something that we try to do every single day. We have, programs that we do that help our business and also our personal growth. Church on Sundays is something that is non-negotiable. We have to do it. And our partners, who are business partners, they know that. We don't negotiate that time. We don't negotiate with the time that we know that it's going to make an impact in our lives and in the kids' lives. And it's funny because you think that in order to succeed, in order to make it, you have to be on the go, 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 go all the time. And those times of stopping and actually, realizing what you have, being grateful, meditating about, gratitude or abundance and those things, or going to church, which is something so simple. Those times actually are what are going to make you actually get to where you want to be. So the busy time is always going to be there, but that quiet time, that time that you actually block for you and yourself and your family, that's what really matters. And that is something that I would say the last year has helped us very, very much, the last year or 2 years. And we keep adding to those moments, adding more to that, because it's been so good. And I think that everybody should try it, just to really be intentional with your schedule, not only for you, but your family, and put them on the schedule. 5 o'clock, I have to do this, or, in the morning, I have to do that, or Sundays, I have to do this with my family. Put them on the schedule, put yourself on the schedule. And Jade knows me. I didn't used to do that. It was all about other people and my business and this and that. And I had to stop. And only when I stopped, my business took off. So.
Oh, a key component.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a nugget. Yeah.
Anything you want to add? I like.
Ooh, it just, I don't know.
You guys said a lot, but that whole piece that you said about understanding that you guys are working together and that you have that routine is important. And T and I actually had to sit down and do that as well and say, okay, look, by this time, we putting the cell phones down. We're going to have our time together, and we're going to reflect on the day and spend time just with each other, not talking about business, not talking about this person or work or this opportunity, just talking about us and being intentional about our date nights and being intentional about making time for each other. Because as you guys know, when you have so many different things going on, you can allow outside influences and those things to muddle into your relationship. And sometimes you might find yourself mad at your spouse or arguing about something that they didn't even do. It may be something completely different. Yeah. And it's like, wait, why are we even
arguing?
Got here? What happened?
But
what are we talking about? What are we talking about again?
But we also learned too that, Mike is daddy daycare. So when we have them kids, they're gonna be up there at y'all place and getting that structure and balance that they need. We're gonna have to work that out, to get it going. Because I like that stuff y'all got going on up there, for real.
And also a great learning point is that Mike spoke about is that allowing Maui to step up because he saw in her something great. So as a spouse, that's one thing you have to always find out, that the individual probably know they have something great in them, but Mike pushed that out of Maui. He kind of like set back, but he was the person that's pushing her. So even though you say it's you switching roles, it just really just y'all working together as a team, and you found like, oh, Maui is a beast at this.
Yeah.
She don't. He was like, oh my goodness, she's a beast at this, and now you become a motivator to your spouse. So he's the motivator. That's his position right now, is to motivate, also to keep the home concrete intact, that home as the foundation. But also he becomes now Maui motivator, and that's his position. And when you accept that position and you accept your role in a relationship, it goes further.
Yeah.
So now even more opportunities or more things are going to open up. Again, it opened up more for you guys because how you guys were able to balance your home life situation and now your business life, and now you see greater off of that because you got that balance. And once you balance that out, other like you said, other opportunities and blessings come your way that you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah.
Totally. I totally agree.
So
Yeah.
as we get ready to close, because I know we took up a lot of your time, we got one last question that we want both of you to answer. So T and I's vision for creating this platform, the Success Mavericks, is to show couples and show people that are thinking about getting into a relationship, or you might be dating someone right now, how work-life balance looks and how success looks different for every person, every couple, despite what social media, despite what society tries to tell us. We clearly heard you guys' version of what you foresee and how you've been able to create success within your family. But I want to hear from both of you. Where do you see your family if in the next, let's just say 5 years? Where do you foresee the vision for your family, and how does that look from a success standpoint? What is, I guess it's two-part question. So where do you see your family in 5 years? And what is your family's, right? Is the
Family success.
What is your family's, like both of you, what do you guys determine success to be for your family? Because it looks different for all of us.
You want to go first?
5 years, I hope that we're going to have grandbabies by then. I think that we're going to add grandbabies and maybe husbands and wives, which is awesome. I think we're going to see our kids, and that's the most valuable thing I think at all this is watching them grow into the people that they were meant to be. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. Success for us. My version of success is being comfortable with everybody, not fearing where the next meal is coming from, not fearing how we're going to pay all the bills. I think that to me, just that peace of mind is mind blowing. Also, just watching these these guys just keep on doing great things,
Yeah, I think that seeing our kids start giving back, because they're gonna be, grown adults and start giving back in whatever career or path they choose to be on. I think one of the things we actually wrote in December was that we wanted to create abundance through service, through knowledge, through empowerment of others. I think that that's what we want, and that's what we want our kids to do ultimately. You can create abundance through service, through love, through giving, to other people, and that's exactly what I envision us to do. A lot of giving. We have been blessed beyond belief. So I think it's time for us to start giving a lot more. The next 5 or 10 years, one of our, ambitions or missions will be to do that, to give back a lot more. And I will say that through empower our community, through knowledge and through education, through service. So that I think will be what will fulfill our, definition of success. If we can get to the point of giving as much as we can, because Mike has a huge heart, and I will say I do too. So that's one of the things that actually connect us. We love giving back or just giving. We're giving people. and in our different ways, but we are very big on that. So I would say 5, 10 years from now, yes, we will have some type of foundation, we'll have some type of mission, some type of something. um, and I think that will start with that, with education and empowerment in our communities.
Mm. All right, well, there you have it. Our first episode of Work-Life Balance series is in the books with Eminem, Mike, and Maui. Thank you guys so much
It's our pleasure.
tonight. We learned, I know I learned just by listening to you guys. I learned some other stuff, and we're going to have a conversation once we get out there live. It just brings us joy to see you guys blossom, to see you guys continue to be successful in everything that you guys do. And we are just forever grateful for the friendship and for the ability to be connected to you guys.
Yes, and also not only with friendship, but also with business. So, Mike and Maui, let them know as far as your service, where they can find you guys' service, or Instagram, all different avenues where they can reach you guys for you guys' service.
Yes, so Instagram, you can reach me at Maui Loans, MAUI Loans, LOANS. And also you can call us 404-993-3361. And you can, either text us or call us through there. And also social media, you can DM us through there. And social media, you can find me as Maui Para, Parra, and Mike or Mike Bell, right? BEL. So you can reach us through there. So
hold on, Maui. You gotta give it to the Spanish too. Give us some Spanish now. I need it in Spanish.
Yes. Okay. So nos pueden encontrar en Instagram en Maui Loans en Instagram, nos pueden seguir por ahí o nos pueden llamar al 404-993-3369.
All right. And what do you guys help people do for those who may have not watched the whole video?
Okay, so we're mortgage loan originators. So we find loans for everybody in pretty much any situation. So if you're not a resident of the United States, that's okay. If you're DACA, that's okay. We're gonna get you in a house.
If you don't have enough money, it's your first time. Yep. If you have bad credit, if you have been turned down for everybody and you feel that you cannot do this, just come to us. We're gonna make it happen for you because there's always a way.
And if your cousin told you can't buy a house because you need 20% down, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So come to us. We're the experts. You can buy a home with, no down payment, with certain programs that we have, right? Up to 3% down. And
you can invest. I mean, I know that a lot of EXPs follow you guys, and I know how crazy it is to file taxes as an EXP. How shaky it is when whatever bank sees your taxes, because it's crazy. You guys are all over the place. Yeah. And we have programs in which you can buy a house only with a profit and loss. You don't need bank statements. You don't need taxes. You don't need any of that. So if your goal is to start investing and building wealth through homeownership, we can help you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you guys for joining us again. This is going to be one for the books, going down in history. And
thank you so much.
You're welcome. And we look forward to talking to you guys, hopefully bringing you guys back again to talk more about that work-life balance subject. Because we feel like you guys got some great gems to still drop in that subject. But until next time, thank you guys again. Enjoy the rest of your night. And thank you to everybody who joined this live presentation.
All right, thank you guys.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
You too.